Hey guys, so this morning I want to talk about what kind of gravel bike should a mountain biker choose. If you come from mountain biking, what are some considerations I think you should consider before purchasing your first gravel bike or maybe your second gravel bike? But let's say you've taken that leap and you want to try gravel biking or you want to continue gravel biking, but at your core, you're a mountain biker like me. I'm at my core as a mountain biker. That's all I did for years. I love mountain biking. But then I started realizing that for these longer rides, a mountain bike probably wasn't the best thing to do. And so let me take you way back to this 26-inch wheel Trek Remedy 9.7. Now, of course, I modified it. I only buy bikes as frame and build up. So I got this as frame and built it up. I built it up pretty beefy. It was on the beefier side of a full suspension, meaning I wanted to take advantage of this 150 millimeter travel fork. It's only 32 stanchion, so that's kind of a crazy thing to think about back then, but that's what they did. 150 travel shock. Look how long that shock is, eye to eye. And Trek's really nice linkage, which was their take on the hoist linkage. And 26-inch wheels that I wanted something a little more significant. So I went with these really heavy duty D3021 disc rims from Mavic that were ceramic coated aluminum rims that were really durable but also very heavy, and they're pretty wide. I think the internal width on those at the time was like 29 or something like that, so really wide considering everybody was making mountain bike rims that were only like 20 or 21. That was the internal width of mountain bike rims back then. The tires used to really balloon out back then. I thought it looked weird. So anyway, this is the mountain bike from 8-9 years ago, and mountain bikes have changed a lot. As a matter of fact, if I was going to get a full suspension mountain bike today, I would have the expectation that I would be switching it in 2 to 3 years. It wouldn't be something I kept as a forever bike. And so that's the first point I want to make. When you're getting a gravel bike, you're also thinking of a bike that you're going to ride a long time. It's going to be more of a forever bike. Whether you get carbon or go all out like I did and get titanium. This was not my first gravel bike. This was my second gravel bike. The first one was a prefab frame from Twin Six, the company that makes the jerseys and stuff. They have some frames and stuff, and they're just imported titanium frames from Taiwan or from China or something like that. I bought that frame, built it up. I didn't take any videos of it. I don't know why, but I didn't have it that long too. So it didn't fit me. It was basically a road frame that they labeled as a gravel frame, and I noticed that right away and realized it was not set up as a gravel bike. So after only owning that bike for maybe a year, I had them custom do this. And you're thinking, why go custom? And here's part of the reason. One is, I think of gravel bike is having to fit you better. It's more of a forever bike. I wanted something that fit me appropriately because I was going to be doing long miles. I was going to be in the saddle all the time. On my mountain bikes, I'm not in the saddle all the time. I'm actually in the saddle 50% or less of the time in the saddle, because I do not descend sitting in a saddle. I'm hovering the saddle or way above it with a dropper post. That bike didn't even have a dropper post at the time. That's how much, like I said, mountain bikes are going to be switched every 2 to 3 years. A gravel bike you will keep for a longer period of time. Another consideration when getting a gravel bike as a mountain biker, you got a mountain bike, or you get a mountain bike as a one-by. As a one-by with a range that you have figured out works for your trails. This is the one by that I'm currently riding on my hardtail. It works out for me. I know with that oval 32 and the 1146, it works out for my climbing. I'm going to go to the mountains. I'm going to climb, and then it's just gravity that's taking me down. On a gravel bike, you're more likely to ride long distances and ride to the trailhead and then go up. That's why I got my second gravel bike as a 2x. I did this crazy combination because I talked to the folks at White Industries. Love those guys. Some of the best products made. And they said, yes, a 4830 will work. So I got my 4830 paired to my 1132. It works out for me for those long, high mileage, pacing at 20 miles an hour. I probably don't pace long time at that. I'm probably closer to 18. But then when I want to get up to the trail and climb some steep stuff, I got that little 30 going back to 32. So less than a 1-to-1. So that's another consideration. The other thing is I like tubeless. Now this was before tubeless. This had tubes. I will not purchase a bike in 2024, 2025 that is not tubeless compatible. It just does not make sense to me. Tubeless is something that is not that difficult to do. You learn it in 30 minutes. You do it a couple times. You get proficient at it. You will be setting up all your bikes tubeless. This bike is not only set up tubeless, but it's set up with those Fillmore valves from Santa Cruz. So those ones are really, really nice because you can push in a lot of air really quickly and it sets your bead really nicely. So I will not go tubeless. So if you're a mountain biker, most likely, I will always go tubeless. If you're a mountain biker, you're most likely to always go tubeless. So another consideration, let's say you are going to get a gravel bike and you're going to do a 1x. What type of 1x do you want to do? Are you going to go with a real small 38 as you see here, or my original, which was a 44? Are you going to go with an 1146, or are you going to go with an 1150? Because they have basically mountain bike drivetrains now for the 1xs for gravel bikes. So if you're going to do 1150, or if you're going to do a 12-speed and do a 1050 or even a 1052 with a 1x, you still have to consider what is going to be your chain ring for your cranks, because where are you going to ride it mostly? That's what's nice about a gravel bike, is that if you choose it to be more road, you can keep it as a 2x, have more range, because this will have top end and low end range, or you can have it focused to be just one or the other, to focus more on climbing, focus more on flat roads. So getting a gravel bike, you have to think of what are you going to use it for? What do you want to do? So I think of it like this. A mountain bike is more of a get it, beat it up, and get a new one in a few years, especially when you're going with a full suspension. Everything's going to change. The way they do the shocks and the forks, they're going to upgrade those. They're going to upgrade the brakes. They're going to do tubeless. They're going to upgrade. Who uses a bash guard anymore? Come on. They're going to upgrade. They're going to have a chain guide or something like that. They're going to upgrade. Now, nobody does 31.8 anymore. They always do 35. They're going to change that, or they're going to change the length. The top tube is going to be longer, or it's going to be lower. There's so many changes that go on this mountain bike industry that it's hard to keep up. But when you go with a gravel bike, I think you're buying something more for longevity. It's going to be a longer riding bike. So take your time, pick out something that you will want to ride for a long time, something that you are going to stay seated in the saddle for a long time, something that you might consider getting a couple wheel sets for to adapt to whatever your terrain is. Maybe you don't want to, maybe you want to go with a really lightweight carbon wheel set for most of your road rides, or an all-ride wheel set, and then you want to get something beefier like I did, which is a mountain bike wheel set for your gravel rides. So those are some considerations, And thanks for watching. I'm going to take you out with, I was talking about White Industry. That's a White Industry hub. I want to take you out with a spin and sound of that hub. Thanks for watching, guys. Thumbs up.